Me, me- sí, yo me desmuteé y me muteé en Slack. Ok.
Listo, y ahora yo salí de Slack por las dudas por la conexión, a ver si todavía
Ok.
que ande lo mejor posible. Pero bueno, esperemos a que llegue la gente.
Ujú. A ver, en Facebook lo habías publicado. A ver qué onda. Me voy a meter a Facebook
Está en
ahora.
el evento. ¿Vos pusiste que ibas a ir?
Sí. No, a ver. No, no puse. A ver, link del evento.
It says there's one person watching. But that might be Anna.
Yana, si nos estás oyendo en este momento.
Yeah, but if that's not our colleague Yana, we're letting some minutes go so people can join because we had a slight change of plans at the last minute, and so we switched. Yeah, it's Yana.
¿Puedes hacer una pregunta, Yana,
I
en el
started
chat?
speaking
A
English
ver si
just in
yo
case.
puedo hablar en un chat. A ver, espera.
Okay, there's 5 people now.
All right.
Okay, now we're starting. Hello everyone, welcome. We were worried people wouldn't find their way because we had to make a switch from Facebook Live to Vimeo at last minute. And so we're adjusting to this other platform. So if you can hear us well, if you can see us well, say hi on the chat. We can read you so we can get started.
Hi, Gunther.
Hi, Gunther. Where are you joining from? I'm in La Plata, Buenos Aires. That's near Buenos Aires in Argentina. Enrique, do you want to share where you're joining us from?
Yeah, I'm joining from Madrid. Well, actually, I'm in Segovia near Madrid in Spain.
That's the thing of
Japan.
joining
Oh,
from a
wow.
smallish city that you have to use the bigger city as reference to let people know how to find you, how to locate you on a map. Okay, so it's good to see Simon and Taylor have joined too. Annelise from France. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name. Thank you. Welcome to this live AMA. We had announced initially that it would be me, my colleagues Jared, Lucia, and our little non-human, or pros that comes first, non-human employee Max, Jared's pet dog. But it's just the two of them aren't feeling very well today, so we are instead joined by Enrique Manso, who is I forgot who you. He's the head of interpreter operations at pros.com.
Mhm.
Sorry, I forgot how to
Yeah.
introduce Enrique. And I am Rocio Palacios. I am the vendor services and advertising manager at pros.com. A few of you, if you have ever attended a pros.com meetup, may have seen me or heard me before because I am also the pros.com meetups coordinator. And yeah, we are uh, letting just 2 more minutes go so some more people can join and we can get started with this AMA. So if you'd like to introduce yourselves, how long have you been in the industry? What's your current challenges? What are your most pressing questions for this AMA session?
Mhm.
I see Jasper from the Netherlands has joined. Simon is in northern France too. We have 2 people from France already.
Yeah. Are you
So
translators or interpreters? I manage the interpretation service, so I know mostly about translation, interpretation. But if you have any questions about getting started as a translator or doing translation work, I can also help you with that. Um, yeah. You may also want to ask Rocio about cat tools. Um,
but not just about that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
mostly so we'd like to focus today's AMA.
Mhm,
Hello, David. David is from Brazil.
mhm,
He's really close, relatively close to where I am in Argentina. Um, so we wanted to start this session by talking about how you can leverage your online presence to improve your business. So that sounds like a lot of buzzwords, I know, but it actually is very important as freelancers. I don't know if you all work as freelancers or in-house, but I can say that, pros.com is mainly a freelancer website, so that's where our main source of information comes from. So we wanted to share some tips on how uh, to improve and use not just your pros.com profile, but your entire online presence to make sure that you are constantly getting new clients and sources of work. Um, so yeah, Gunther, I see that you're interested in how to do more freelance. So maybe this is, this. Hopefully this will be useful. So yeah, one of the main things that I was a freelancer for a couple of years before joining the pros.com team back in 2019. It's been a while already.
mhm,
And so one of the main things that I found was that I needed to have um, some resources. I was very young and I just had just started as a freelancer, and I was like, okay, where do I go from here? And so I thought, yeah, I'm gonna fill in my LinkedIn profile and
mhm,
get started from there. For some minor background, I am a communications. I have a bachelor's degree in communications. I do not come from a language industry background, but I did do some freelancing before, and I was very I was not an expert. I was the complete opposite of an expert on freelancing. And so one of the main things that I figured out is that you can't just fill in your profile and say, okay, this is me, this is my name, this is my picture, and this is my college degree, and just say, okay, this is all I have to say for myself. How One of the main things that you need to know is that your profile and your online presence is your shop window. And so what makes you different from the translator that is next to you? What differentiates if Enrique and I, as pros.com employees, were to fill in our profiles? What would make us stand out? And so he's an expert in interpreting. I have some expertise. I am an expert in marketing. And so, how can we make sure that I differentiate myself from him and let my clients know that uh, this is what I can do for them. This is the value that I can add to their organization. And so it's very difficult for freelancers, and especially for when we're just getting started, this idea of selling ourselves. It sounds unpleasant. It sounds cumbersome, and it sounds like like you're going to be very boastful and say, "Oh, I can do this and that," and what's the word for it, Enrique? That you're going
yeah,
to be boastful, engreído. What's
yeah,
the
yeah. I
help
get
me
it.
out with this one?
Um, yeah, absolutely. And I get what you're saying, that you will be kind of showing off what you know.
Showing off.
That type of attitude, and that can be, you may think that it can be perceived negatively or something, but actually, um, it's a good thing to showcase everything that you have done in the past and everything that you're capable of. The pros.com directory has thousands of visits every day. I check the visits, I check what people are looking for, and chances are that your profile is being viewed more than once a day on the directory. And maybe outsourcers or potential clients are not clicking on your profile, when it appears on the directory, and opening your full profile. So that's why it's important to complete your profile thinking of the directory. I think it's a good practice to do it that way. And one of the tools that you have, one of the features that you have on your profile for that is your tagline, for example. It's a short phrase that appears under your name, and it should display clearly your specialization or something important about you. So if you are an interpreter, and you're doing remote interpreting, for example, and I'm an outsourcer looking for a remote interpreter, I would like to see some keywords regarding your specialization. For example, whether you have a medical interpreting certification or how many years of experience you have. And depending on your specialization, these keywords will be different. Maybe you're a marketing translator or a web localizer, right? So if you're a web localizer, I'm sure that there are uh, words like string, right, instead of word that resonate more in the context of website localization. And maybe you can put something like, I know, 200 strings per day or something like that, whatever the measure is. So that's that's pretty useful in the
Yeah,
context of directory searches. And I'm looking for clients, by the way, which is the topic that we are addressing right now in connection to
I
freelancing.
I once saw a tagline by a game localizer, someone who specialized in game localization, and it was like, I'm going to not be. It's
Hmm.
not going to sound very good because I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something like,
Yeah,
I will level up your games. Uh, and
yeah.
it was a fun play on something that expresses I am an expert in this field.
Hmm.
And this person also managed to have a little bit of fun with their profile, and so we were discussing how you should be very open about your achievements. It's not showing off. You work really hard for them. The first instinct that a lot of us as freelancers have is to be, a little bit shy about that. I just said Enrique is an expert in interpreting, and I am kind of an expert in marketing. You can, because you feel like you can never be truly an expert on something. But I have been doing this for many years, so I
Hmm.
am as much of an expert as more of an expert than I was 6 months ago, and so on.
Hmm.
So you should be making sure that your profile really reflects all the hard work that you put towards your career, because
Hmm.
no matter what stage in your career you are, you have put in a lot of work, whatever that work means, whether it's whether if it's experience or college work or your whatever. You need to be confident
Hmm.
about that, and make
Yeah.
sure that this
Make
shop window that is a
yeah,
profile
make
reflects
sure
that.
that coming back briefly to directory searches, another piece of information that appears on the search results
Hmm.
when an outsourcer looks for a certain freelancer is a profile picture. And I've noticed that many people don't include a profile picture, maybe because they feel that they are shy in some way, or they feel that they're going to be judged or something. But or they upload a logo instead of or a picture that has nothing to do with them. But look at us, for example. If I were looking for a game localizer, I would look for someone like Rocio with their huge headset with colors and stuff. Like that's the kind of profile picture that I would expect from someone who's a video game localizer. If I were looking for an interpreter, I would look for someone with a headset that looks more like this, which is more appropriate for remote interpreting. So the profile picture, it's all the small details in your profile that counts. And if you already have experience because you're working in-house or you're working in other ways, or you're just starting out as freelancers, chances are that you already have some clients or colleagues that you work with, and asking them to leave feedback on your profile is also very important, because that validate your profile. It will give outsourcers credibility that they can use your services. So that's super important um, for you to do.
Yeah, and this works for
Hmm.
all online profiles too. If you, I don't know, LinkedIn
Hmm.
also has a recommendations
Yeah.
section that colleagues
Hmm.
and bosses can leave recommendations for you too. It's always important. And on your own website, when you go to buy a service, you hire a service, you don't buy a service, but when you go to buy something or hire a service online, you will
Hmm.
find that a lot of websites have testimonials. Pros.com makes use of testimonials too, because we want you to know, in the words of people who are a
Hmm.
customer like you, how this product, how this service has helped them. And so you need to be able to make the same for yourself. Um, you know, and this is kind of takes me to the next part of leveraging your online presence, which is networking. Um,
Hmm.
So imagine you have your complete profile. We've been, we have at pros.com, we have seminars and webinars, not seminars, and
Hmm.
documents about how to make a complete profile. And so a lot of people come to us and say, okay, my profile is excellent. It's 100%. It looks beautiful. I put in a lot of work. My bio is a dream. So how do I make it people see it? Because I don't get enough visitors. And so there are many ways in which you can make this profile. Now you have it, it's ready. How do you take it out into the world? And so one of the things that is really important, and like I said, especially as freelancers, not just but especially as freelancers, I found in my experience, it's to network, to have colleagues and people that share your same specializations, your same work, and even, making putting together teams is really important. So like I said, I come from a background that is in communications, and I have been specialized in digital marketing for a while. And this experience is not that related to translation in a way, but um, I found when I was during my journey as
Hmm.
a freelancer that I needed to put together a team, because I am communications bachelor, and we are not good with graphic design. We are not. We don't learn that in school. I'm joking. Some of us are, probably. I am not. I am not good at graphic design. And so when I was working in digital marketing, I figured, okay, I need to find a designer, and I also need to find a photographer, because we will need good product pictures for, I don't know, if you're selling jewelry, you're going to want, a nice picture, not just something that you captured from your phone and just snapped at it and then published on Instagram. And that led us in many different directions. We were a team. I had a designer uh, that I worked very closely with, and we ended up meeting a producer for events for bands, and we put together, a lot of good work. And so, in making putting together a team of colleagues and people who may not work in your exact specialization will mean that more work will come your way. That is just foolproof. For example, if I were to team up with Enrique, maybe he gets contacted by a big agency who's looking for a translation game localizer, and he says, "I will not, I can't take this work on. I specialize in a different thing. I'm an interpreter, but I can send this work to Rocio." And
Yeah, here we have a few questions from
yeah.
Sancho and David Kane.
Hmm.
So Sancho says, just a few words about how important is LSP um, overall digital visibility.
Hmm.
Could you, yeah, did you understand that? Or
Could you explain, Sancho, what you mean by how important is LSPs? Do you mean if you are acting as an LSP or if you are acting as a freelancer? Could you please elaborate your question a little bit? They also add that their own experience, how Pros.com works for them along with other sites. Yeah, that's really, we definitely would recommend that you diversify your online presence.
yeah,
That's why
you
I
should
keep
be
bringing
pretty
up
much everywhere. Even
LinkedIn.
yeah, even have your own website. It's a good idea. Nowadays, it's really cheap and you can do it in a couple of hours.
And these
Hmm.
things can be networked. They can lead to one another. Maybe you
Hmm.
have a bigger audience on LinkedIn that you then leverage to bring them to your pros.com profile, or you pay for some ads, for some ads for your website, and then that website leads you to your professional profiles,
Hmm.
so people can contact you.
Yeah, it's
And
it's
David,
interesting
yeah,
that yeah, some people say that they are getting they get many clients from their website, their own website. And no, Sancho, we can't hear you. No, we can't. You can only type.
yeah,
That's
we're,
yeah,
we're
that's your
not
button.
we're not opening the
And
mic for as
they're
much.
they're saying, yeah, my
Yeah.
website has a lot of traffic and I'm getting many clients from my website, but those visits are actually coming from pros or LinkedIn or Ledger networks. So what's happening is that they clients may find you through one of these online portals, but then decide to contact you when they see your website. So that's an interesting take on
Yeah,
on
I
the
think
approach. Yeah.
that you need to put together, like we were saying, you need to put together,
Hmm.
your profile here, your profile there,
Yeah.
your website, and then these things will work together.
Yeah.
It's
Then
always important. You know, your
yeah.
shop window, and like we were saying, it's not when you have a shop window, you don't just have one dress. You have a dress, and next to it you'll
Uh-huh.
find a coat and some boots
Yeah.
and something. And so you want to make it as appealing as
Hmm.
possible. Some people will reach your website, some people will not be familiar with pros.com, and then maybe become familiar because they found your website first.
Hmm.
Um,
David came here is saying it seems
yeah,
that reviews from agencies you have worked with is the most important draw for new clients. Would you agree? What else is key to have to appear more interesting to potential clients? Um, so yeah, I think that reviews are important, all types of reviews. So the thing with reviews from LSPs, from agencies or companies, I mean, is that they at pros at least they will appear with their logo. It will be so if a new client is looking at your profile, it will be easy for them to in most of the cases to click on that review and learn more about the company and see that it's a legit company that you have worked with and so on, instead of a random client that left a review and doesn't have a profile on the site, and it's difficult to reach out to and so on, and could be your friend. So at pros there are measures to prevent that from happening, right? But the client doesn't know that. Doesn't know that you can't just tell your friend to leave a review or and so on. So that's what happens, and it's true. I think that in my experience looking for interpreters and translators who want to because I do provide vendor management services for pros partners, and of course I use pros find and the other directories to find freelancers for these partners. And what I found is that profiles that have reviews from companies or agencies have much more credibility that those and that have reviews from direct clients only. So
yeah,
so yeah,
it's it.
they appeal, David,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that they appeal.
it is
They're more
one
appealing
one
to
of the
clients.
biggest draws. Definitely, you should always, as soon as you finish a project, if you have like a good relationship with the project manager, if you build up some trust,
Mhm.
or even if just the project went well in general, you can leave them a review. This is another thing. If you leave a review on their Blueboard or on their website or whatever method
Yeah.
they use, they will probably say, "Oh, here's Enrique. He left a real good, nice review for me, and I enjoyed our collaborations." And they will probably,
Hmm.
respond in kind. Yeah, it's. I agree with what Enrique said. He has
Hmm.
this experience of going in and looking and verifying, and these agencies look legit. They are legit, and so they add a lot of value to your profile. But on the other side, if there are any up and coming translators or and interpreters here and um, don't have this experience yet of working with big agencies or have a lot of experience, um, reviews are good. They reviews from end clients are also good. It's always good to have experience from verifiable experience. But if you have like 10 good reviews from an end client, that's not nothing, definitely. um So there's a bit of a conversation going on here that I would like to catch up on. So Sanchez said, any form of SEO-friendly content is good to use and work in synergy with forums, translation contests, etc. So you stand out. Yes, definitely. That was one of the points I wanted to go next. And they also said that the terminology debates are the most important. And yeah, that's I'm going to go there in just a second. And so someone from the team is also adding, I assume this is Jared, probably, but I am not fully sure that this is Jared on the chat.
Yeah,
He
I'm
says,
fully I'm
I am
fully
fully
sure
sure
he
that's
is.
Jared. Reviews from clients are important, but so is anything that shows you're good. Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. If you uh, yeah, you have to show people how good you are. And sometimes you don't have the experience or the reviews yet, but that doesn't mean, or sometimes
Mhm.
clients, especially big agencies, just
Mhm.
don't have the time or can't take that step in their large processes to leave a review on your website. So there are many ways to differentiate
Mhm.
yourself. And so, for example,
Yeah,
if you're on
here we have
pros.com, the
the
CPN.
yeah, the CPN is a certified pro network. So for
Yeah,
those here that haven't heard about the certified pro network, this is a program implemented by pros, and what it does is it verifies the skills of the translators and their business reliability. So and of course the way they behave on the site and how cautious they are with the rest of the
yeah,
community. So it's a vetting process in three steps or in three dimensions, sort of saying, and this is a huge differentiator. It will give you a red badge on your profile, and there are special filters all over the site just to search for people who are certified pros, because outsourcers can tell, or they have a better degree of certainty that the translator will be reliable, that will produce a good output if hired, if they have the certified pro badge. And yeah, and belonging to this network also gives you more marketing tools, so you can embed this badge in different websites, or you can share a certified pro network certificate on social networks as well. So even though this is not the type of certificate that will give you CPD points and so on, it's a great differentiator on the site. This is this is a program you can apply to whether you're a member or not, a site member. But only if you're a site member, you will have this badge enabled, like your certified pro network status will be active
yeah,
only if you're a site member. Um, so that's answering to your question, Sancho, if it's uh, payable, a payable certificate.
yeah.
Hmm.
It has a visual effect, yeah, and it also lets other people know that you went through all of this work to get certified. And
Hmm.
and sorry, I was just catching up on the chat. Yeah, it has a visual effect, and it has an effect on people who are familiar with the with pros.com. They will know that you went through this process, and people who are outside it will say, "Oh, this person has become certified by this process." It adds a lot of value. It's not just, but obviously it stands out in a search. If you see people on a list and one of them has the red badge, it's obviously going to stand out. um
Hmm.
so yeah, and Sancho, what you said, you mentioned a lot of I wanted to bring up, we
Yeah,
should know
so
how to
I
write
think
quality
that
content.
if I can
Yeah.
add something, that the value of
Yeah.
this certification is not only that the translator is good, that the
Hmm.
translations that they do are good, but also that they are good communicators with the client. You know that these are people that respond quickly, that are professional, that know how to send a PO, an invoice, that know how the process works. That that won't give you headaches when dealing with the translation process. So that's why I think companies value this certification a lot. And again, like
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, I choose interpreters, even though the certification is only for translators, but I choose interpreters with these certifications because they know they are going to be reliable. They are not going to miss an appointment, for example.
Yeah, no, definitely. Those are, yeah, the CPN isn't just about translation ability. Definitely. So I wanted to point out, as you said, about being great content writers, that on the other end of networking, uh, there's a very important thing that you should do to make sure that your profile shows up and reaches your clients, is that you need to have your public contributions. And like I said, it means collaborating in terminology,
Mhm.
providing term help, participating in kudos, building glossaries. Those are, the very pros.com things to do. You can participate on the forums. You can write articles on your website, on your online profiles. You can submit them to pros.com. Um, these things, your public presence, your public online presence, will link back, like Sancho pointed out, to your profile. And so if you have like a really good article that people are interested in reading, or that it's, like I said, SEO friendly, that is something that is of much interest to the community, they will be able to find you through that. On the flip side of that is you need to be professional with your online presence, keep the tone of your conversations. And we see that this happens a lot on social media and sometimes on the public forums, that people tend to be snarky or sarcastic. And so this is a bit of a gamble, because if I were a client and I find that you spend a lot of your time just arguing on Facebook about, the latest football match, and the thing gets really ugly, that's not the kind of online footprint that I would like to, circle back to my professional profile. I try to keep my online presence very professional, and, my private I don't know, my private arguments with Enrique about football, just private.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Mhm.
this is something that we, having, your public contributions, and making sure that you have content that, circles back to you
Mhm.
being good at your field.
Yeah.
This is something that is, passive marketing, which is, it's it sounds time consuming. It is time consuming because, it takes time, it's work, you have to put in some work, but it also ensures that there's something constantly working for you. There are times when you have
Yeah.
a million projects and you don't have time for
That
marketing, and so
yeah,
these
that's
things,
correct.
sorry, these things continue working for you in the background. Sorry, Enrique.
No, yeah, no worries. So, what I was going to say is that sometimes people think that online profiles or online marketing works sort of like a faucet, like, well, I created my profile, so here now I have to support all these clients and so on. But it's actually more like you get droplets over time, if that makes any sense. Like, so if you complete your pros.com profile, for example, it will have tons of keywords. People will find you through Google searches. Uh, People will find about you, especially if you are in a niche. Uh, so
Mm.
if you work, if I know, if you do um, translations only in the cardiology specialization, for example, only if in that section, and in a very specific vertical of the industry, and who knows what else. So if you have all those keywords, you are, um, yeah, it's very likely that outsourcers will find you through a Google search, by all means. And by having multiple profiles everywhere or exploring different venues for finding clients, you will just increase your chances of finding more. But you have to take into account that this will happen over time. It's equally important to know, you are as a business person, right? Because if you're a freelancer, you're a business person. You have to know that you have to allocate time for finding clients or doing marketing for yourself, and also keeping those clients. So if the stream of new client is slow, as it usually happens, but you keep them over time, you will have more and more sources of translations. That's what usually tends to happen. And membership, what membership does, it boosts this. But membership, so people also tend to think that membership is kind of a faucet. That if you buy pros.com membership, you will just get a stream of new clients. And that's not always the case. Except for some specific services that you need to be a member to participate and that are connected to pros partners. But um, if you are a member and you don't have a complete profile, so membership won't be a big asset for you. But if you have a complete profile and you're spending time on the site and you're spending time posting your Wewos and generating content, and you're also a member, then your chances of getting contacted by clients are exponentially higher. So that's a yeah,
Yeah, this is true
that's
of any
something to
business
consider.
investment.
Mhm.
We're talking about the membership here. You pay for membership so you can boost your chances of being seen by clients, but what are you showing them is really important. What you are showing them is really important. If a client comes to me and says, "I want to create, I want to have an advertising campaign for my cat tool, and I want to buy banners, and I want to buy emails and social media presence, and the cat tool is unfinished. Or yeah, no, I want to start doing this campaign now for people to download it, but it's not finished. It won't open, or it will only allow you to translate, I don't know, for an hour, and then it will break down, for example. No, I don't know, I'm just inventing something here. uh, if you don't have the thing that will catch these people's attention, you're paying to boost something that will not give you any return on your investment. And so this is membership. Basically, you're paying for exposition of your profile. And what are you showing clients? If your profile is the bare minimum, if it just has your picture and your
Hmm.
name and it says I do legal translations, okay, you and 500 other people in this pair do legal translations, why would I hire you? And that's exactly what Enrique was mentioning. This isn't a faucet. You don't open it and this is magical. People will arrive and say, yeah, I'll hire you. Why should I hire you? This is, like an interview. For most
Hmm.
jobs, you go through an interview
Well,
process. For freelancers, the profile is the biggest interview. And so
yeah,
Jared added here something that's really important, that passive marketing is the key to avoiding the whole this feast and famine cycle, where you have periods of lots of work and really good projects and you earn a lot of money, and then some it dries up. This can happen, this happens, it happens a lot. If you're a freelancer, this is part of a freelancing life. But this passive marketing tactic will let you lessen the impact of those. You don't have to rush out and get new clients suddenly. If you are, I'm reading here, if you are steadily establishing your online presence and keeping up with your visibility, this means that when you become available for more projects, you will have a pool of potential clients that are interested in your work, that follow your work, that find your online presence. And your online presence will also go a long way in making sure that you network with your colleagues too, in
yeah,
making sure that you put together these teams. It's not just for the clients.
it's a bunch of small things, small
Mhm.
details, as I was saying before. That's why I think. So we have mentioned a ton of things already. So feedback, for example, your tagline. So and they kind of, you have to kind of follow a path, right? So first you upload your profile picture, and you make sure that your name is spelled correctly. It happens many times that you see names like with lowercase, without uppercase letters,
Or in all
with
caps. Like
yeah,
if I were to
exactly.
write it, it looks like I'm screaming, not, oh, I'm
Yeah,
Rocio Palacios. It looks like I'm saying,
Enrique,
I'm
yeah.
Rocio Palacios.
Exactly. So then your tagline, then you complete your fields of expertise, or you write something, a couple of words about you. You request feedback. Then on time, when your profit gets some traction, and you want to boost that, you become a member. And then now that you're a member, you want to apply to the certified pro network. And all of a sudden, this is something that you have built up, along with time, and it
Yeah,
becomes a very strong profile, for you. But this will happen over time. um
yeah.
Maciej says, I have heard that it is difficult to find work in software game localization. Is it true? Are there any specific ways of finding clients in those fields? Are those fields worth getting into as a beginner? So you hosted a few meetups about game localization, right,
Yeah, there's
Rocio?
about a couple of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, that that was
I
the other
think I
Rocio
think
actually.
the other Rocio, but you too. No, I
Yeah.
mean I know
No,
that
no, I
Rocio
mean,
Campone did. But,
that was a joke.
um,
A lot of fields are
we
highly
can.
competitive.
Yeah, maybe we can post here some links to those meetups. Are those available, or are they
Those are
member only
available currently for
content?
pros.com Plus members, but we can make them open for
Um,
a week. I'm going to drop my email here, and I can send you. You can watch them
yeah.
here on pros.com/TV. But if you find that you don't have permission, you can reach out to me, and maybe I can open them up so you can watch them uh, for a limited time. That's no problem.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a lot of, I don't know, specifically for game and software localization. Maybe someone can provide better insight here. But there are a lot of fields and a lot of pairs that are highly competitive. There are some specializations and some language pairs that are easier to find your niche in because there's not as much competition. But this highly depends on how you present yourself to potential clients. I wouldn't get discouraged by knowing how
Hmm.
much competition there is out there. If you were to, for example, if you were to throw a rock outside right now, you would find 11 digital marketers like myself. And so this is an incredibly competitive field. And I how I presented myself to pros.com and how I presented how much value I could add to pros.com, despite my background experiences. I didn't come from the language industry, but what could I add to pros.com? And so again, this is a matter of how you present your interest and
Um,
your relation
um,
to this expert field of
yeah.
expertise.
Also, by the way, software localization is a
Yeah.
very broad term. There are
Mm.
many sub areas, sort of saying, in this wide area of software localization. So you have web apps, for example, web app localization, or mobile app localization. You have tons of things that you can get into, that you can specialize in. Um, Software, you have desktop programs. You also have manuals, for example, or technical documentation, and that also counts as software localization. I assume that you're mostly interested in um, apps. I would suppose, like translating the different menus and buttons and so on. And this is a huge area. I recently met people from software localization companies who work here in Spain with companies from the US, and the market is huge. The work they do is really interesting. Yeah, as Rosie was saying, I don't know if it's more difficult or less difficult than other professions or fields of
Yeah.
expertise, but this is booming. And I mean, this is
Yeah.
something that it's not like saying literary translation, for example, that it's usually always the same. Uh, I know it hasn't changed a lot in the past few years, but app localization has
Yeah.
clearly
You could say,
evolved.
for example, if I was an English to Spanish technical translator, I would say, yeah, there's a lot of competition in that field. It's really hard to get in, but there's also a lot of work at the same time. The gaming industry is huge. It shows no sign of stopping. So if you want to differentiate yourself, Gerald, for example, pointed out here, there is a pool, a pros.com pool for game
Mhm.
localizers that you can sign up for. And the process of entering a pool will mean that someone will just assess your commercial viability in this
Mhm.
field, that you will have some, this is manually reviewed by someone. And so if you get in, an outsourcer will know this person has, this
Yeah.
profile is legitimate. Also, for example, you don't have the experience yet. Well, do some training, attend webinars, try to, some of the industry leaders that you respect or admire. I have some connections on LinkedIn, for example, with people who write about video games a lot, that I used to interview for my thesis. And so, you can find this connection somewhere, and try to get an insight on how the industry works, and how you might add value to it. Not just, okay, I'm an expert in English translations. So I want this job because of this. You can show them how much you know about this particular industry and how much you know about this field of expertise. For example, you can also take some training. We have spotlight training on
Mhm.
pros.com on an ultimate guide to video game localization. I'm going to share the
Mhm.
link with you. If this is one of a lot um, of options for CPD that you have, and so you may not have gotten your first experience in game localization yet, but you are preparing yourself to become the expert in video game localization that the client will want. And so you have this certificate and you have this experience and you have done this and that and written this article. And so, your online presence shows that you are an expert in this field. and that you're accumulating experience to be able to be, the person that they will go to for this.
Yep.
And Sacho made a suggestion that says one day we should invite someone who will represent the client or one owner of an agency so they explain their point of view. And I find this really interesting. This is a really interesting idea for a meetup. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
I think this is very interesting. I see you probably receive
Yeah.
news about something
Mhm.
like this soon on pros.com meetups. If you haven't signed up, I am going to do a bit of an ad here. If you haven't signed up for events notifications, pros.com meetups is a networking service with each pretty much adds everything that we've done here. Pros.com meetups is a networking service that also features presentations from industry speakers on topics of interest. And so Enrique just mentioned that we had a long series about video game localization. We had about audiovisual translation, getting started as an interpreter with this expert right here. We've done about scams and how to prevent them. And after the presentations, you get an open floor to chat with colleagues and get to know each other and discuss what you just learned. And it's super interesting and fun. And so,
Mhm.
if you'd like to sign up for notifications for that, this is a members only service, but it's super interesting and fun to attend. It's not, I'm not just saying that because I organize them. I'm saying it
Mhm.
because that's true.
Mhm. Yeah, it's good to note that there are more services now, that services have branched out in a way, more than before. Like, for example, in the 90s or early 2000s, you used to have, translators only. Like, that was the only or the most common language service, maybe translators and editors. Then editors became proofreaders, and then you have like tons of specializations that you can follow. Here, the users are mentioning subtitling, but within
Yeah.
subtitling, you can do tons of things like time coding, the translation of subtitlers, subtitles, and many other tasks like lip sync. Like, there are tons of things that that you can do. Um, so it's interesting to or it's convenient to you to know that these all these areas of all these services exist, so that you can have a chance of, not only translating, but you can say, well, subtitling, maybe I'll give it a shot. I'm receiving transcription requests.
Mhm.
I'll find out more about that. I'll get to learn what software is used for transcription, what people normally charge, and yeah, why not trade out? The same with remote interpreting. So I manage the remote interpreting service, and up until recently, not many people knew about remote interpreting, although it's a very old service. It's been around since the early 90s with telephone interpreters, but not until recently, with the pandemic, many people got to know about remote interpreting, and it's fun because within remote interpreting, you can also have, like, you have different branches, different services, different areas of expertise. So it's a very complex business.
Yeah, in what you said about subtitling, it sounds, like an up and coming field because it's,
Mhm.
they're getting a lot of requests and they're with the big streaming services competing with each other to reach larger audiences. There's a lot of work in that field, but it's
Mhm.
also a huge, huge, huge segment of the industry. Like Enrique said, like you have
Mhm.
it's not just subtitling. For example, we a few months ago we had a meetup with one of the experts, Rafa Lombardino, and she talked about template creation. And this is something that I had never heard before. Template creation is something that she specialized in, and then she offered this and offered some experiences about. When she was working on this on some TV shows, she brought up a lot of really interesting things. And so if you start digging into a field that you like, for example, game localization, you'll find that even though it's competitive, maybe you can find a niche inside of this one field. And so, for example, like Jared said here, uh, specialized in one or two fields if you can. Serious clients are looking for specialists, not generalists. This is true of any discipline. This is really important to do. You can take on any project, and we know that. But if you're a specialist in something, clients will come to you for that, and that's really important because we're all generalists in a way. We all can translate
Mhm.
everything, and so this doesn't close the door for getting projects outside of this specialism, field of specialization. Sorry,
Yeah.
this just means that you are an expert on this, and so clients will say, no, I have this expert on this. Like I said, because an expert in interpreting, and if I were to think of someone to call for subtitling, I would call my colleague Aijo Roca, who is the absolute genius on that. And so, I when I think of someone for a job,
Mhm.
I say I have worked with many photographers, but I know this one is good for food photography. She's not that good for events photography, but studio photography, she's amazing. I'm gonna call her up. And I have someone for studio photography, and I have someone for events photography, and so for translation, it's the same thing. And Jared also said that contributions that you can make that will add to your passive marketing. He sums up what we've been saying, so I'm going to read it. Provide term help if you can. Kudos. The Kudos is still around, and it's still an amazing platform to make sure that you contribute and you make yourself stand out as an expert on something. I can't stress this enough. You can provide technical or business help if you can on the forums. We've had users who were very active on the forums that acted as guides to the site because and not just to the site, not just pros.com, they were very helpful to newcomers. And they got a lot of business coming that way because they were experts on how to set up a translation business. You can submit articles if you can.
Mhm.
If you'd like to write, we have an article section at pros.com that will help you get published on the biggest translation portal. And so that counts a lot. Your public posts and contributions radiate out from your profile and bring clients back to you over time. Uh, I like that Jared is writing down what we are saying in a million words, and he's putting it in very succinct words. So I am reading out what he's writing. And like Jared says, definitely never say, I'm just starting out. I don't have any experience. We all start out somewhere, but that's not your selling
Right,
point.
exactly. That takes us back to what we're saying at the beginning of the presentation. Like, you have to brag a little bit, right? You have to or boast. I don't know what was the verb
It,
that
it
we were
feels
using,
like
but
bragging, but I promise you it's not.
yeah, exactly. Right. So you don't have to present yourself as a newbie, as a junior or something like that. You have to present yourself as what you are, a professional translator, subtitler, whatever it is. Companies are not looking for a junior translator. They are looking for a translator, and that's it. Um, so yeah, it's funny because some people do actually write on their profiles like, I'm new, I'm just starting out, and
Yeah.
that shows that it can to clients that can often look like you don't have enough confidence on yourself, like you're just um seeing what's happening, but you might not be totally interested on new
No, and even
projects
if
and
you
so on. So
did, what I read, if I come to your profile and I say, I am just starting out, I am going to say, I am going to have to train this person. Do I have
yeah.
the time to train this person? Maybe I do, but on the other hand, maybe I find someone with just as little experience as you, but they sell themselves better, and I say, this is the one I'm going to go for because I don't need to guide them through every step of the process.
Mhm.
The craziest thing about the people who put I'm just starting out on their profile is that if I spend 5 minutes with talking to them or reading their curriculum or the resume or reading their profile, I will find at least 10 things to highlight. Nobody has zero things of value to add to a job. So you need to find out what this is going to sound
Mhm.
very self-helpy, but you need to find out what makes you unique in your field, and it's not a fun process, but we all gotta do it, unfortunately. And so if you find that thing, it will ease everything up a lot. If you present yourself as someone who is just starting out, you run the risk of losing a lot of opportunities that could have helped you get that experience that you're lacking. And so don't sell yourself short. Is if we have to draw one conclusion from this million words that we're saying here, is don't sell yourself short. You always have something of value to add. And that was on the self-help section of the pros.com AMA. There's a really lively conversation on the chat going on right now between Sancho and Jared. This is really, no, it's really good. I know everyone can read it, but I'd like to read some highlights again. Um, Specialists are often busier than generalists, says Sancho. But as Jared points out, specialists are busier for good reason. And like we said, it's not that you can't do all kinds of work, but you present yourself as a specialist on something, and that makes all the difference. Your profile, your public contributions, your website are your presentation. Membership gives you visibility to those elements. And, yeah, pros.com does the heavy lifting of bringing client traffic to you. But like we said before, what are you selling them? If I if I invest $10,000 on advertising on magazines and billboards and ads everywhere for my product, and then the person comes to the product and it looks ugly or unfinished, or it doesn't work as it should, uh, they're not going to buy it. And so you pay for the attention, let's say it.
Mhm.
You invest in marketing. Where's the product? Did you complete it? Did you make sure it looks good? And also, we know we presented this like a lot of work, but there's many ways in which you can have fun with this entire process. uh,
No,
it
I
is,
like.
there are,
Yeah, no, I like Sancho's comment here. He
yeah,
says a synergy on here on what
absolutely,
Jerry was pointing out, that
yeah.
it's a bit of everything, and yeah,
Mm.
he says it's a synergy. Um, yeah. David Kane asks about site localization and pros.
What does that mean? I think I
Uh,
lost a part of the conversation, sorry.
I think you mentioned site localization.
I did. I'm sorry, I don't know what I said. Can we back up a little bit? Help me out here, Enrique. What are we talking about?
Um, yeah, I if you sorry, but do you see the comment?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I don't understand the question. So site localization on pros. Um, if you mean
okay.
clients looking for site localizer, pros
Oh,
road. Okay, okay.
okay, Jared.
Jared. Yeah.
Okay.
The person sending messages as pros.com is Jared Tabor. He's been
Oh, okay.
his member
Yeah. So
services at
what he
pros.com.
mentioned, yeah, he was meaning, yeah, what he meant to say is that,
Right.
yeah, you can localize the pros.com website. You can help localize the pros.com website. So in your language, and you can join
Hmm.
one of the localization teams and use that as a way to show your experience as a web localizer.
And just that Davis is paying attention. Yeah, we
Okay.
are
Yeah,
also paying
I thought
attention, but
you
the
you
chat
had
is
mentioned that.
moving.
Yeah.
It's moving super quickly, and I'm trying to keep an eye on everything. I have two screens right now, and they're very busy with
So
things. I am
yeah,
doing my
uh,
best, Jared.
coming back to that topic,
Yeah. Mm.
if yeah, if you do pro bono work on the website as well, for nonprofits, so there are nonprofits uh, looking for translators, and if you translate for them, the word count will appear on your profile. So that counts as experience to you as well. You can look it
Yeah.
up. You can look for pro bono pros.com on Google, and you will see one of our landing pages about doing pro bono work.
Yeah, and there's Translators Without Borders. Sorry, the
Yeah,
name just
if
escaped me.
you
There is a
yeah
lot of input. Yeah,
uh-huh.
Translators Without Borders has been around a lot of volunteer work.
Mhm.
It's always good to do volunteer work if you find yourself that you can't get work because of you don't have experience and you have some time that you can slot in some volunteer work. This means this is the experience you're looking for. And organizations, NGOs are always looking for people to help them out with these things. You can even contact local organizations that may need this kind of help. You don't have to necessarily go outside of your own community for volunteer work. So we are running on 1 hour, and so I would like to take the last 5 to 10 minutes to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you so much for everyone who joined. We had some minor hiccups at the start when we had to change platforms, and so we weren't sure if anyone would join, but this was really fun. And thank you so much to David, to Sancho, to Gunther, and everyone else who joined for contributing and asking questions. Um, Jared, who is in the shadows replying to your questions. Thank you, Jared. Yana, who made sure that you could all see us and hear us. I don't know if she's still here, but thanks, Yana. You have been a lifesaver this week. And so, okay, any questions? Any questions for us that we may help you with? And while we wait for those questions to trickle in, I am going to share. You can write to us at any time. You can contact us via the support system. You can find us on the Facebook group. You can find you can find us on our email. I am rocio.p@pros.com. That is rocio.p for Rocio Palacios. Enrique is enrique.m because that's Enrique Manso at pros.com, obviously. Jared is Jared at pros.com. We have, a lot of communications channels that you can reach out to us because we would love to help if you have any questions about
Absolutely.
membership, about your profile. And since I already ran an ad already for meetups, I am going to mention very quickly that we are running our year-end campaign with big discounts on membership, on training, and on software. That if you want to start out 2023 with the right foot, with all your package of resources, I think this is a great opportunity. Um, you can visit go.pros.com/2022. I am going to share the URL on the channel right now, but I'm going to share that right now. I am not writing for the translation contest. Sancho, you asked if I am writing for the translation contest. No, I don't think if I were to write, I think I am not. As you can see, I'm not great at summarizing. And so if I were to write text for the translation contest, it would take years to translate because I cannot put things in 20 words or less. So I just shared with you the URL to go to the offers in case you're interested in joining as a member and being able to attend the next meetup. The next meetup is going to be in December. It's going to be all about transversal marketing. We haven't announced it yet because I'm working on the details right now, but that's one thing. There's training offers too. Are really good. We have fantastic training, fantastic trainers. Um, Enrique, would you like to add anything else?
No, that's it. I hope you can join the upcoming meetups. Sorry, I'm coughing. I'm recovering from a flu. Um, but I'm glad you all came here, and I hope to see you next time.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for joining and indulging us for an hour, hearing us talk about marketing. It was really fun. And we hope to run one of these sessions again, and we'll see you next time, okay? Thanks, everyone. It was great meeting you all. Bye.